we may begin on the topic of today. And today we will discuss the beauty of opening our consciousness. And the key, most important factors why it is necessary for us to realize ourselves beyond all distraction, to realize ourselves beyond all conditionings, beyond all limited beliefs. And once we have this very clear intention, you know there that you have a certain will, a certain spiritual fire that allows you to continue on this journey of revealing ever closer, ever clearer your true nature, the essence of whom you are truly. And so as this human, civilization, at this time, you are all aware we are undergoing a huge revelation of awakening to the truth. Of course, this has many layers. We have to keep in consideration that every soul has its own, timing, has its own maturity and readiness according to where one is at to reveal that next level of truth within. So although there is ultimately one truth, one consciousness, but there are various levels and degrees of truth that one may experience. The beauty of opening consciousness is that throughout this unfoldment, you are becoming a liberated being. And becoming a liberated being here on earth is not an easy task. Yeah, it's like swimming against the currents of the huge waves in the sea. So, this revealing of our deeper truth comes at a bigger price because it requires so much effort to go against the huge mass current that is still playing out on this earth. But this experience that we are all undergoing, it's really strengthening us very deep in our core. So can only imagine, when we are ready from this planet Earth, what a big, drastic jump of our, let's say, souls and consciousness evolution that might look like or may look like. It's, well, whatever you are doing here on earth and progressing on your path of evolution, you can't even imagine once you leave this body how much easier it's going to be to continue where you've left, but it will definitely be 1,000 times fold of more of what you have the potential to experience in this controlled density, controlled 3D here on Earth. So, as you know, we can be very honest that, transcending certain limitations, breaking down certain core beliefs you've carried for your whole life with you. It's a great deal. Sometimes you might feel yourself shattering to pieces. Sometimes you might feel a carpet being pulled off your feet. Sometimes you might feel confused, not knowing where you are or who you are for a moment. So, these great openings, they come with a certain, let's say, price to pay. But that is basically the karma, the memory of the past that you're simply completing, isn't it? You're simply completing it. You're simply liberating yourself from past memory or past locks in your system. And when that moment comes, yes, it might be a difficult moment, but it will soon pass. And as soon as you do, you always receive the gifts of consciousness. It's an instant reward. It's an instant victory. It's an instant moment, invitation to celebrate life again. It brings you back to that awe, to that deep gratitude, to that reverence, because it is an instant reward every time there is a deeper revelation. So, whether we like it or not, this is the way forward. This is the way upwards. And whatever is going on, whomever is still trying to, keep humanity in a certain limited reality, still the momentum, the force of higher consciousness, it is coming true. It is working its way into us, into our collective. And the light of consciousness is cracking into the locks and into the densities that have been residing on this earth for a few good thousand of years, isn't it? And whether or not people are ready for some kind of spiritual awakening or not, it is anyhow happening. Of course, you are the warriors of this planet Earth, walking on this earth. You chose as a soul, you knew exactly what you're coming into, isn't it? As a soul, you chose your family, you chose your path, you chose, the body, being a female or a male. You chose everything already, because before incarnating, you had all the memory, you had everything, you weren't limited. So you had everything already, and you chose all of it because you knew you're going to make it, and you knew you had to be here. You knew that you were going to make a difference being part of the whole here on earth. Otherwise, you wouldn't have come here. Your soul wouldn't have chosen to be here. Why would it choose if there was no purpose for it? So your soul has had the choice. And of course, being shrinked down in a certain controlled environment, and you all know about the controlling mechanisms and all that we've adopted, how that made us feel. It's not so many people like it, but knowing that there is such beauty in this opening, in this unraveling of our consciousness. It is like cultivating this beautiful heavenly garden, and from nothing into heavenly garden, heavenly space. And this is how I see like each and every human being, walking on this earth, from being totally dull and nearly dead, walking into, opening up, yes, dealing with, all the hardship that, you meet along the way, but every time, the petals of the flower opening and opening, there is so many gifts we are constantly receiving. And it's really to acknowledge that. That is the reason I wanted to speak today about the beauty of opening consciousness, so that we can sit down together and acknowledge the gifts of consciousness, acknowledge how much you're rising upwards, how much more aware you are now, and the gift that comes along with that, the gift of being so aligned and connected with source. There is a certain power in that, a certain amazingness in that, knowing that you are exactly where you need to be. No matter if there are some glitches in your way, we are not just yet, perfected human beings, because there is a lot of work here, a lot of memory. Even our genetics, they need, unless we receive some medbits in this lifetime, it's going to take a few good generations to restore our genetics as a human being, as this biological body as well. So unless we receive, we unlock these certain, like the healing devices that are able to restore us in one generation, then it will, of course, make it much easier. But if it won't happen anytime soon, then this is how it looks like you and I, we're constantly integrating our higher consciousness. And for higher consciousness to integrate within this plane, it requires a certain upliftment of the old, isn't it? Like every time you open yourself up to a new level of reality within you, the consciousness itself, it kind of uplifts or brings forward for you to see the old, maybe the old identity or the old you, and it kind of pushes it up into our awareness. So what you're always seeing, what is always appearing, is actually the past. It's actually old. And that's why whatever we look at, what comes up, most of the time you might not like it so much, because what's coming up is the old. It's the old you in any way that's reflecting in this moment. But there is beauty in that, because in that moment you have another hand or foot into your liberation. This is how you resolve the great knots, the great obstructions that keep humans in ignorance, isn't it? It's pure ignorance, unconsciousness. That is what it is. And this light of consciousness, it's as it integrates more within us, it is simply gifting you, the next present to unravel. even if it doesn't seem to be so nice. It doesn't matter really. You're liberating yourself. And you're not just only liberating yourself, but you're also having a part in the liberation of this whole civilization. Because what I can see in this present time is that certain deeper awakenings have happened to certain mature souls. Some call them the light workers, or healers, or all these people awakened now. They are more of mature souls, starseeds. Maybe you've also heard or prefer that word as well. So kind of starseeds are more advanced souls or more mature souls, or paradoxically speaking, may also be coming from some future, but in reality, it's always now anyways. But, there are various ways of how this can be, spoken of. But it is mainly these starseeds that have done the biggest job right now. It's very clear, because the big chunk of, humanity, they still haven't touched any grounds in this regards. So basically, starseeds came here to do the work for this whole planet. And this is what, as I look around, as I go to normal places around, and I still see the same people being exactly where they were 10 years ago. So it is very clear to see that starseeds have been doing the majority of the work. Of course, for starseeds, they're stronger in the capacity of transformation. And that's why, there've been a lot of juggling many things, personally and collectively. But in the whole collective, it is through the starseeds that this new wave of consciousness has been coming through, anchoring within people like you, basically. So it's also great to acknowledge that, and knowing that, from one way or another, your soul already knew what it wanted to come here for, to support this growth of this whole civilization. Yeah, so working from the land and working from above with many other beings, and together, slowly, we are kind of making it happen, isn't it? And it is really great to acknowledge this on a bigger spectrum as well, is because I do meet many times people doing a lot of work on themselves, which sometimes become a bit too much like self-centered, too much about me and my healing and myself and where I am. And, it's great to focus on yourself. It's great to continue, working through your higher levels of consciousness. Of course, it's perfectly fine. But sometimes getting a bit too drowned into all the triggers and what's happening to me, and this me will, sometimes like kind of shrink your reality and will put you in a bubble. And so, in this meeting, I want to open up that bubble a bit and look at the bigger scale, the bigger spectrum, your soul's decision of coming here, and the beauty of opening consciousness, not just for you, but how it's affecting maybe the people around you, how it's affecting the collective consciousness bit by bit, how it's supporting and playing out this role of preparation for our planet's evolution and civilization to grow. And that gives you a moment to be out of your bubble of myself. You know, I find that it's very helpful to maybe zoom in and zoom out and have a wider view of everything. So you don't get too much too absorbed into me. And, you know, being open gives you this wider view, and even knowing that maybe it's not so challenging when you look at the whole world situation. You know, you can consult with yourself, and you may also start to see the beauty of this time, of this era as well, because you know we can maybe sometimes get stuck into looking at or maybe feeling disencouraged, like, how am I going to do this? You know, it's just too much and things are not happening as fast as you wish them to be. You know, whatever your own narrative is, in the midst of that, you know, you can zoom out, look at the wider view, and consult yourself with, you know, with the little magic you see around you, so to speak. You know, with the sparkle that might be available if you really, you know, look at the certain detail, look at your certain progress, and look at what maybe around you is happening. Even little baby steps, you can appreciate that and, you know, have love for that, have gratitude for that. Become more and more humble to yourself and to the people around you. So we are, you know, awakening out of this ignorant dream into the real reality, you know, unfolding and slowly becoming this, you know, flower of consciousness, returning to wholeness, you know, and that wholeness will bring a lot of fragrance in your life, a lot of richness in your life. It is once you return to your wholeness and you know deep inside you that you simply are, and that really, you know, like really anchors very well into your core, you know, then what you may see unfolding and growing is the fragrance of your existence, is the fragrance of your life and the richness of your experience. And that is the magic or the sparkle and the fragrance of the qualities that actually, you know, flow in, and they are gifts of God. They're flowing from source. And this is also why it's so beautiful for us to acknowledge the qualities as well and continue, you know, working through refining the gifts, the qualities, the fragrance that is given to us from you know, source, from the divine.